several of you were in the last session, so I didn't scare you off. I think I scared about 50% of you off, and about 50% of you look new. Yeah, I know you two are still here. Thank you. God bless you. My wife thanks you. My dog thanks you. Thanks. I get paid by the number of attendees, so that's a beautiful thing. All right. So we're here to talk a little bit about Office 365, and we're here to talk a little bit about Office 365 consulting and how you can make more, earn more, do better, do well. I liked Ben's secret sauce this morning. Good stuff, hearing that right from the horse's mouth, so to speak. My name is Tom Moen. I'm Office 365 technologist for Microsoft. I've been with Microsoft since October of '96. When Steve Jobs kicked me off and I quit Apple, and I was with Apple from 1984 to 96, so about 12 years there, about 13 years here, so Microsoft wins. Woohoo! And I've been with online services since the very start of online services, so I think there are only about 3 or 4 other people still around doing this stuff that have been doing it as long as I have. So if you have any questions, feel free to see me after. You can follow me at Cloud Mover. I'm just not that active anymore, but my email is just T and then Moen, M-O-E-N, like the faucet. So Team Moen, you all think of me now in the shower. So Team Moen at Microsoft.com. Thanks for laughing. Appreciate that. Because, if you're not going to laugh, I'm not going to be funny. So simple as that. Or, I don't know, cart and horse thing. So, and just as review, and I think this is good just to kind of beat this in before we get going here, there are a couple of, we're in this session, and then I'm doing 5 to 6 elevating your planning and deployment, and then an encryption gig tomorrow. So feel free to attend any of those. A lot of the slides that I use are very old slides. And I don't apologize for that. I think if you can get utility out of slides for a very long period of time, that's good, and then you get more comfortable with them and stuff. But I love this because this is very old. Like, what is the difference between on-premise and infrastructure as a service? And Seth, thanks for joining. We've got the people online, so again, if you ask questions, I'll be cognizant and look for Heather. So you can post your questions online and we will answer those if possible. And I'm going to go off slide a lot here today, but I did put a lot of content in the slides for you to use at home when you get home. So you don't need to take pictures of any of this. You're going to have all of these slides. So I love that. It makes me feel really good when somebody's taking a picture of my slides, but don't waste your time. You'll have them in full resolution, editable, and everything. So these are all your slides. I'm just here to push the button to advance and then yak a little. So what's cool and what I really liked about this from way back when was that it does a great job of telling the story of what is on-premise, that, again, you're responsible for managing all of this stuff. In infrastructure as a service, in Azure, for example, where we first started, you had all those blue things to manage, you or your customer. So that was a good opportunity for you if you did things like we heard Ben talking about the managed services that he offered, right? And I think there's still a great opportunity around Office 365 customer, and they were about 16,000 seat customer. In a month we're going to move to Office 365, so they got rid of their whole help desk and their service desk. Good decision or a bad decision? Very bad decision, because what doesn't Microsoft do? Tier 1 support. And then they had to go out and hire a bunch of people back and look kind of silly. So this is an opportunity. I will tell you that I did leave Microsoft because I was lured by the smell of money, and I left Microsoft and went off and built a couple of cloud practices for a couple of partners, and they're both pretty thriving, successful. One of them just got a central region award for their cloud practice. So it's me. And I will tell you that the reason that I left Apple, I was in a fight with a guy named Jobs, and he was saying, he made a comment that we would win in consumer, then we would win in we would win in consumer, we would win in education, and then we would win in enterprise. And this is the honest to God true story. And it was in a hotel room in Green Bay, Wisconsin. for a launch event at Computer Corner in Green Bay. And I guess I was shaking my head or something, and he told me to stop my whining. He did it much more robustly than that. And I said, geez, we're both going to be dead by the time we win an enterprise. And he said, this is much bigger than you or I. The company will live on forever. It was kind of a cool thing. He's gone. I'm still here. Luckily, knock on wood. Where's some wood? I don't know that they're winning an enterprise, but certainly they've gotten above 5% market share, and I've seen a number of Macs, and you won't ever hear me pick on. I pointed out earlier that he has boot camp on that machine, and he's got a copy of Office for Mac and Office for Windows, and Windows, and that's twice the profit we get out of any other machine in this room. So. And that's good. Some of you had to laugh at that joke twice, so I appreciate that. We were doing an office launch in Omaha, Wisconsin. There isn't an Omaha, Wisconsin, but there is in Omaha, Nebraska. For those of you from outside of the U.S., there's no Omaha, Wisconsin that I know. And the two guys who sat up front were like college kids, and they both brought out their MacBooks and fired up the glowing Apple. I'm just going to touch this really for a second. So it's not at all distracting for a presenter to see a couple of these in the front row of a Microsoft event. And so Luther Moen and I, not related, beat the heck out of these two guys for the full launch event, and it was a lot of fun. I remember the other thing in Omaha, there was I went to, we were having a raffle, and the top raffle prizes were these big baskets of booze. And I was like, God bless the Catholic Church, And then I looked down, and there's a priest and two nuns in the front row, and I'm like, oh my God, now I'm going to hell for sure. So I was assured by the priest that God's a humorous guy, and I would be fine. I don't know that to be true or not, but I was assured. So again, as you move to the scale from the left to the right, you are managing less things, and a lot of companies think that managing less is a good thing. And generally, you see economics of the cloud that prove out that managing less is less costly as well. And on all sessions, I'm always focused on that software as a service area, but that's where we're going to focus today. And I'd like to share these with everybody, and again, sorry for the repetitive nature here. I won't do this. You can read these on the slide. But there's a lot of benefits and a lot of good reasons for people moving to the cloud, and so much for it. What I've always said is this is why people like the cloud. It is safe, secure, frees up resources. You're moving your CapEx to OpEx, which is a good thing in most people's minds. And these are the things that I think we're missing in Office 365. So one of the things that when I went off to build this practice for a partner, one of the first things that I did was I wrote a white paper. Now, I lifted a lot of that content. Remember, if you steal from one source, it's plagiarism and theft. But if you steal from multiple sources, it's research. This is Tom's law.
I would say potentially next Wednesday would work.
Research. And we wrote our own white paper. Now, my CEO was telling me, we're going to sell this white paper for 10 grand. And I was like, well, I just had a meeting with Erica Driver. She works for a little company called Gartner. I don't know if you've heard of them. But they wrote a white paper on whether or not you should use cloud services, and they sell that thing for about $1,000. So you think something coming from us is worth 10 grand. We're going to have a lot of paper in the back room that we don't sell to anybody. So let's do this as kind of an entree into the service. So we use that as a lost leader. Come get our white paper, and we put it on our browser, and we put it in, and we handed it out at events. And then Harry hooked me up to actually write this, Office 365 for Dummies thing that we could give out and stuff. So Harry and I go way back to 1999. I think Harry's a great dude, and he was in my small business resource kit video, and he worked on the small business server resource kit, and I think we paid him pretty handsomely for that. He's got a sailboat in this nice house that some of you have been to, so he's doing all right, that Harry. Harry's a great guy, and I owe him a lot. A reason why I'm here today, and it's so great to see so many of you here. But I think you got to start to think out of the box about what can we deliver above and beyond the ordinary, right? It's not about mailbox, migration. You've got the migration with BitTitan. You've got the Sky something or other that I heard about today for the first time. Sky what? Skykick. Beautiful. Thank you. I don't know, but I guess they kick you to the sky. So I'm sorry if any of you are from Skykick. I apologize for not knowing who you are. Yes, they're going to kick me in the sky. And I told the previous audience that we're in enterprise groups, so I work in EPG, the enterprise customers, and I used to support about 155 of the largest customers across the United States. 85% of them own Office 365, and about 30% of them have moved to Office 365. And when those numbers are at 100%, guess what? There aren't any more mailboxes to migrate, right? So if you build a business around mailbox migration, runway. You're running out of runway. All right? So use these Skykick guys and the BitTitan guys, but you can highly leverage those folks to do mailbox migration. There's not a lot there. But this whole going in and doing a analysis on a customer, should they move to the cloud or shouldn't they move to the cloud, I think there's some goodness in that. Okay? Again, what I always tell customers is this is why people are going, hey, Office 365, one of the sessions today was deploying the new Office, right? So one of the parts in E3, the enterprise SKU E3 is Office. And there was a question asked in the other room, and I wasn't rude and didn't jump up and answer that one. But I always tell people, the best way to deploy Office, don't deploy it. And there are a couple of ways to not deploy Office in Office 365, right? You can use the Office Online, which gives you about 25 to 85% of the functionality of Office, right? OneNote Online is going to give you about 85% of the functionality of OneNote Rich Client. Word, PowerPoint, if you've seen the most recent, we just updated those last week. So they now print. Well, that was in a July update, but they print. Printing was important. Woo! I got this document. I want to give it to somebody else. I probably want to print it out. So they support printing since July. Sorry we missed that. But we're catching up. So now we're getting closer to the 35 to 50% of the rich client. So the best way to deploy Office is not to deploy it. We talked about RDS and the SCA, right? Doing a shared computer activation, SCA, and again, read more about that next week. That is also a great way to not deploy Office. Throw it out on an RDS, throw it out on a Citrix server. We've been able to do that since November of 2012, for crying out loud. Now, we weren't able to do shared device. We had individual people logging into a machine to use that in a shared remote desktop services way. But now you can have a shared computer. And again, these things were invented for healthcare and retail and manufacturing companies out there. So helping customers understand that. Helping customers understand that you can get the volume license bits and you can still deploy it with LANDesk. And let me help you go through the transforms and leverage the ORK, the Office Resource Kit, to configure Office the way you want it to be broadcast and blasted out to your desktops. That's a good business opportunity right there. I'm going to talk about a little bit deeper, more robust solutions and things that you could get strategic on, and then talk to you about resources like where do you find these things. The top things, and I love, eFolder, great that they're here, great that they bought lunch, great company. You should investigate as well their solution and as well OneDrive. OneDrive is our solution inside of Office 365, and what I used to tell customers all the time was, I won't draw it out, I'll just talk my way through it, but we went from SharePoint, and SharePoint, when I was the worldwide product manager on SharePoint, we had this thing called My Sites. And a My Site is where you had three things. You had your profile, it's the three Ps. Profile, your personal documents, and your public documents. It's where you went to share things. So profile, public, personal, right? So you put your personal information there. Now we do have sync and share, and there are all these sync and share solutions out there, and some of them are our friends, and some of them, Dropbox, are not really our friends. And we want to beat them with eFolder or with OneDrive. Out here, I've got my OneDrive, and you'll see that I'm using this presentation, SMB Nation. These are all my presentations. They've got these little green. Yeah. So out here, thanks for the heads up so quickly, you guys. That was really nice of you. So let me go on. Not those of you remotely, because I saw the note that I wasn't sharing anything. So yeah. So my presentations are there. My OneDrive is here. I cleaned this up because I had like 5 OneDrives, and you're not supposed to see this because inside at Microsoft, we're not supposed to have our OneDrive not for business, our SkyDrive amateur. Remember, cats and dogs shouldn't be called cats for business or cat pros. But this is a terminable offense to have your OneDrive here. But I have to demonstrate it. That's the reason my OneDrive is connected to my machine, because I am forced to demonstrate OneDrive amateur, OneDrive not for business, and use some of these solutions to migrate from OneDrive to OneDrive for business. But what's nice in my OneDrive, and you'll see there's all kinds of files here, when I drag and drop a new file into this folder, and I'll just come over here and get a file, you will see that it gets a logo to it. And that logo, wow, I had a lot of windows open for that Citrix. I know you're not seeing it yet, and I know that. Here is a good little file. So I'm dragging and dropping this file to my OneDrive. It's instantly there in that folder, but now you'll see it'll get a yin and yang symbol on it that typically is blue, and then it'll turn to a green checkbox once it's synchronized up to the cloud, right? So now it's in the cloud and it's synchronized. If I drag that to my shared, see, there's yin and yang. I wasn't lying to you. So if I'm sharing a folder, and there's a folder in there automatically called Shared with Everyone, and you can share that internal to your organization. When it says Shared with Everyone, that's shared with everyone inside your company. I can create a folder and have it external and say, oh, these are my vendors, these are my suppliers, and I can share new contracts, updates, pricing information, whatever. And I can share that with just that group, external sharing. Cool? So that's external sharing, and that's what people like about this, and it's just that easy. How this all looks in the UI, and I know that some of you are familiar with the wonderful M SKU and small business SKU, but this is what it'll look like in a week. So this is what it will look like for everybody, whether you're in an M SKU, an E1, an E3, or an E4 SKU. This is the user experience that you'll get. And there are some cool new things here. Under the reports area, you're starting to see things like people are going, well, gosh, if my users are sharing things externally out there, I want to maybe be able to audit that, or I want to be able to see and apply data loss prevention rules and policies to that content, so I can put things like, this document can only be viewed for 30 days. Kind of cool. This document can only be viewed on an iPad, but it can be edited on a Windows device. Now how much would you pay? Oh, wait, there's more. So these are some very cool things, and there was one of these reports that should say OneDrive and external, and then we do have some external sharing. So this is all new. This is that kind of always up to date, right? We're not going to do, gosh, Exchange 2000 shipped in 2000. Then we had 2003, and companies paid millions of dollars to upgrade. We're on 2003, and they paid millions of dollars, and they couldn't do an in-place upgrade with 2007, so they had to buy all new hardware. And then, we tricked you again. You can't do an in-place upgrade in 2010 either. Oh, and guess what? You can't in 2013. So keep buying that hardware. Woo! So here, not only are you always up to date, but you get these new feature function capabilities that just show up. I was doing a demo, and I constantly have to go, oh, what's this external sharing button that I haven't seen before either? You know, and then I click on it and go, well, this is awesome. And then they're going, yeah, it kind of is. And I'm like, I was surprised by it too. It's so lovely. But you can try to not be surprised, and again, use your browser search engine of choice here. But if I do a road map for Office 365 and hit return here, there's an Office 365 roadmap. And I had all these loaded up, but then I had to reboot my machine and rejoin the Citrix thing, or go to meeting, Dealy Whopper. I hopefully clicked on there. Yeah. So here's all the things that launched. Look at 41 things. Well, I can't remember all that stuff, so I just always tell you as partners and customers as customers, because that's the role we play. Problem is those darn, this is good. Like, I've got this script memorized for this presentation. The problem is customers always forget their lines. Like, yes, I'll take 2. They always forget that part. That was supposed to be funny. Again, I'm failing miserably here. But here are all the things that are launched. Here are 15 things that are rolling out. Yesterday, this said 0. Today, it says 15. My God, look at the Exchange e-discovery mailbox search limit increased to 10,000 mailboxes. What was it before? No, it's 5,000, so it doubled. It doubled. How much more does it cost you now? Nothing more, right? You're not going to write more checks to us. When we went from 25 gig in OneDrive to 1 terabyte, I had a customer that was writing a PO for me, I'm not kidding you, for 10,000 users to get a terabyte of OneDrive at discounted $480 per user per month. And then we went to a terabyte, and their cost went to 0. That's pretty amazing. And stuff like that is happening all the time. People are like, oh, I'm not going to move my stuff to the cloud, because then you're going to have me at gunpoint. You're going to come back and say, now it's $50 a user a month. When we started selling BPOS, it was $30 per user a month. You got a 5 gig mailbox. You got nothing in SharePoint, and it was that stupid, cruddy Windows SharePoint services, right? It was Windows SharePoint service. It was a free thing, and then there were capabilities that KPIs weren't in there and stuff. It was junk. I mean, compared to where we are today, right? So this thing had limited capabilities, and it was $30 a user. We've cut the price in half, and we've given you now 50 gig mailbox, 25 terabytes of SharePoint storage, 1 terabyte of OneDrive per user. 1 terabyte. I was talking to a company, they're 68,000 users. I'm like, well, when are you going to buy that 68 petabytes of storage? And they're like, what? That's going to cost us like $40 million. And I'm like, we're giving you that for free. Boom, I'm out. So all these things are here, and then there's in development. My favorite feature of this whole roadmap thing, and I'll be brutally honest with you, is this section right here. And I had an offer. When I left Microsoft, I was at this partner, and I started this cloud practice. I got a call from these guys in California, and they said, Tom, you like California? And I said, yeah. You want to come out and visit us in Mountain View? And I was like, maybe. But it's the 4th of July weekend. How many kids you got? 2. And your spouse? 1 that I know of. And he said, is your spouse and kids like San Francisco? Yep. How about we fly you all out here, put you all up in a hotel, while you're going through this process of talking to other people to find out if you like us and we like you, we're going to take your family on tours of the Bay Area and stuff. No, I'm not one to pass up a free trip. So I said, hell yeah, let's do it. Giddy up. But then I told them, you look at, here's the innovation that you guys had. Kind of goes on this little thing like this. And while I just made fun of our Exchange 2000, 2003, 2007, look at Office Pro, right? I can say there are 10 features that I absolutely positively loved in Office 2003 that shipped after XP, which was 2002. And there were probably 10, 20 things I loved, like the fluent user interface. Thank you, Mark Alexoff, for bringing us the ribbon. God bless you. And everybody hated that thing at first. We all couldn't live without it now, right? I mean, after a week, you couldn't live without that dang ribbon. But man, the flack I took while I was trying to get it in it, large companies, insane. But there were 10 things that I loved in 2007, 20 things I loved in 2010, 1,000 things I loved in 2013. I'm like, I had to tell them. I said, if I come here, and I come here because I'm in love with a product like HealthVault, and then you say, hey, next week is the end of life for HealthVault, I'm going to cry. That's going to make me sad. And I said, look at it this way. Nobody in this room, are any of you strong Google advocates? You know Google? Anybody want? You can admit that. Lightning won't hit you. I don't know who said lightning. We have no lightning bolt generators anymore. They left with Balmer. We used to have them. And actually, I think it was just an electric cord that was strung along the seats because it kind of hit you, you know, where it shouldn't. It wasn't on the top of your head like a real lightning bolt. It was, so that's, nah, I'm kidding. There was no electric chairs here, as far as you guys know. Nobody's going to admit that they're friendly with Google. Come on. Why wouldn't you be? That was the best thing I ever did. I went to a Microsoft-only company and said, hey, we're Microsoft and Google. We can sell you both. I don't care which one I sell you. I can sell you both. I'm going to make money off you, Mr. Ms. Customer, either way. But what I would recommend for you is Office 365. If you don't carry Office 365, you don't have objectivity. I would know that. So I can, honest to God, demo Google Apps for Business better than any Google employee. Honest to God, I can. There's only one guy in all of Microsoft, David Alexander, who can demo that stuff better than me. And stuff is a replaced term at the last minute there. But I said to these guys now, and so none of you are admitting you know anything about Google, and this is where this joke is extremely funny to all the Google people, and it won't get a laugh here at all. But I said the only reference to Google Knoll is in Wikipedia. So nobody knows what Google Knoll is, do you? It was an online electronic encyclopedia that people could contribute to at their free will. Do you know another thing that's an online encyclopedia that people can contribute to? I just said it. It's called Wikipedia. The only reference to Google Knoll is in Wik. See, this is some funny stuff. It's not so funny when I have to explain the damn joke to you, but this is some funny stuff. And it's kind of cool to tell that joke in an all Microsoft audience because they're like, huh. But if you listed all the stuff that those guys canceled, and I don't mean to slam them, but canceled or killed after even Health Vault after it was popular, they still killed it. That's crazy. And I was like, if I come here because I like Google Knoll and you kill it, I'm a sad guy. I don't like that the innovation, this company invests $8 to $10 billion a year in productivity. We're not doing search engine, well, we do with Bing, but we're not, the 90% of our investment is not going towards search engines and mining data and unlocking the privacy of your data. 90% of our investment is how do we make people more productive. Cool? So, and if you're doing both them and us, you can say that with a straight face. And I told a bunch of Google Compete people, I said, it's unfair that I'm here talking about win-backs because I have an offer letter that I show people. I was with a big customer. They may or may not make underwear in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And it's kind of funny because I said, I was at Bayer Corporation a couple of weeks ago, and I took out my Alka-Seltzer. And everybody loves to joke about this and set it on the table. And then I said, and then I was at Hilton Corp, and I pulled out my Hilton card. And then I said, so since I'm here at Fruit of the Loom, and they were like, no! So it is funny stuff. But they were looking very seriously at these guys, and I just said, hey, there were two other people, the worldwide account executive for Berkshire Hathaway, because they're a Berkshire Hathaway company. Nancy Coonan was in the room, and her manager, Kevin Deere. And I'm like, you two people have to leave the room. And they're looking at me all weirdly. It's like, I'm going to say some stuff that I can't say. And then I went in, online, filled out my vacation request form, put myself on vacation for the rest of the day, and threw my badge across the room like that. And I said, I just quit Microsoft. Now, let's get down to business here. And then I went through, here's what Google will say, here's what Google will say, Microsoft will say. Here's what Microsoft will say, here's what Microsoft will say, Google will say. Throw that all away, here's what Tom's going to tell you. And I'm your buddy. And then we went through, and then I went through what I'm going to do later today, the planning and deployment of Office 365. Probably shouldn't leave my badge over here in a grate, but that was very powerful and was good stuff. And I probably shouldn't kick my microphone either. But if you don't have that objectivity, if you can't demo, I was in a head-to-head Google Compete, and I said, hey, let me show you a couple of things in Google. And I went through this stuff, and I said, now, let me show you that demo out of order. Break, bomb, crash, hang. And they said, you know what? When you demoed us the good way, you did a better job than the Google guy who was here. And that's pretty powerful stuff when they're going, man, you know the competitor better than the company guy. I would be shamed to death if that Google guy could demo Office 365 better than me. Honest to God, Harry Carey, not Harry Brelsford, Harry Carey, right there on the front steps of the company. So this is good stuff. Roadmap published, really good stuff. I covered a lot of junk and I rambled like crazy. Hopefully this is good, but I'm not really getting to the point that I'm here to talk about today. So I apologize, but if this is still good, me taking a little mental vacation, great. But if not, then just tell me. I had an eval once that said, Tom is too parenthetical. And after I looked up parenthetical in the dictionary, I said, yes, I am. I absolutely believe in education through storytelling, if you can't tell that by now. That's most of my life is storytelling, and sometimes I tell stories like this Fruit of the Loom story, which probably shouldn't be told, but it's good that when you can say, I've been on both sides of the fence, I've drank from both fountains, and this is why I like this water better, right? Or this is why this water is better for you is even significantly more. They had 28 lawyers in the room, a bunch of records managers, and a bunch of compliance people. And there was one little demo that, this is totally out of character and stuff. But here in OneDrive, so inside of OneDrive, we were talking about file sync and share being one of the top apps, and I'll go back there. I swear to God. Under the library, there are library settings. So those of you who are familiar, which one of these says library settings? Thank you. All right. Beautiful. So I can see the library settings, and then there's information rights management. So these guys were very concerned about their IP leaking. Now, I told the story about these guys who dial up the nuclear youths for nuclear bombs and launch codes in nuclear bombs. At Microsoft, there is a setting here in these show options where our certificate, you must verify your credentials. First of all, I have to come up here and say, yes, restrict permissions to this library, because we can do this in any library, any list, right? And we can say, in a library, in a list, and rights protection, it doesn't allow you to print. It doesn't allow you to run a script. It doesn't allow you to annotate. So we can do these things, turn them on or turn them off. At Microsoft, I have to be on the corporate network once every 90 days. I have to direct access or VPN in or be connected like I am here today every 90 days, or I can't open rights-protected content, because we give you a certificate, right? And that certificate is what opens the document, right? This is kind of cool. This Air Force, where people have launch codes and know really important stuff, they have that dialed down to one day. You have to be on the network every single day. And I remember talking to the general, and he was saying, they used not multi-factor, they used only factor. It's just a smart card, and smart cards are locked in the safe. And I'm like, man, that seems like a lot of hassle. And he goes, you come home tonight, and there's a terrorist with guns pointed to your wife and children's heads. And I said, yeah. And he goes, how long would it take you to give up your codes or your username and password? And I said, I'm already writing them down for you. I wrote them down. Here they are. I handed them out when I walked in the door. So they do that every day. And at Fruit of the Loom, when they said, and I don't think it's supposed to be really, I think they are a case study, so I think I can reference them. They did one day too, and I was like, dude, give me some material, scissors, some thread, I can make some underwear. It must be something in the elastic band or something that I'm not. But anyway, here, this is awesome. I mean, you can do this to OneDrive, right? You could create a folder and say, hey, everything in here, don't allow users to upload documents unless they're supporting information rights management. Bam. Can't share unless it's rights protected. Awesome stuff. You can teach this to companies. You can go out there. This is part of your strategic consulting. You can build rights management templates for companies. You can elevate yourself and be a better consultant by doing some of these things, knowing some of these things, and having these things at your beck and call. So that was all just on sync and share. And how much better sync and share is than Box and Dropbox and share file. eFolder got a great tool. It's awesome that you guys can white box or label that and sell it as a service. Kudos there. That's awesome. External team collaboration, being able to create a SharePoint site and publish that out to the external world. We just went to, how many partner access licenses does one of your customers get? Unlimited. Who said that? Well, you don't count. How many How many partner? How many partner? Okay, in Business Productivity Online Suite, how many partner access licenses did we have? Yeah, the answer is less. It's about 15, less than 15. Guess again. 15. 0. Good answer. Awesome. And then in Office 365 2010 version, how many partner access licenses? 100. Right. I heard that answer. That's awesome. People not here with us today. This is such a smart audience. They're getting these answers just like that. It's pretty amazing. Office 365 2013. How many? 1,000, right. And then we upped that to 10,000. Correct. Wow, look at this. And now it is unlimited. This is the participatory section that we're in right now. Yes? So you as a company, you as an owner of Office 365, I'll give you a very good example. There's a company that makes banking security software. They bought 3 licenses to Office 365. They created a SharePoint site collection. They created multiple sites and subsites under that. They shared that with every bank that they sold their software to as a partner access license. They had 3. They were paying $24 a month. It's a pretty embarrassing story from a sales guy's perspective. I sold them 3 whole licenses for $24, and they were sharing out 10,000 SharePoint sites with 10,000 of their customers. So that's a partner access license. They cannot be an employee. They have to be a partner, so non-employees. So there's a hospital that I worked with. The nurses and physicians aren't their nurses and physicians. They don't get a paycheck from that hospital corporation. They all have SharePoint sites and SharePoint access for schedules and stuff, but they're a partner of that hospital. Sure, sure. Unlimited, as a matter of fact. Did we mention that? It's unlimited now. So that's unlimited, which means there's no limit. Because it's unlimited. I will tell you that the $24 a month was an uptick from where I was. I was working with the Banco de Colombia, and for some reason they wanted to rights protect their bank account information of their bank account holders. Why? I don't know. They wanted to email out account information securely, so I sold those guys 3 copies of Exchange-hosted encryption at $1.50 a piece, $4.50, huh? And they were sending out account information for 40,000 account holders. They also said, I did the briefing right next door in the EBC because they were going, oh, Mr. Mullen, you will come to Colombia. We will have a good time. And then one of the guys said in Spanish, and this is all I got, was skin color. And then I was like, what? And then the guy's like, you know, he's too white. He will be killed within 5 hours. This is when things were bad in Colombia. I understand they've gotten a lot better. External team collaboration, an awesome thing. Enterprise social. How many of you guys were Yammer partners before? Friends of Adam Pisani. All of you. Great, again. Awesome. You'd be so much smarter people at home if you were here, like all the people who are here. So enterprise social is a very big deal. You know, Adam Pisani and Yammer, they used to run around going, we're killing Exchange. We're putting Exchange out of business. Right? And that's what they said and they felt. And even the Yammer employees that are still here at Microsoft, they still have their slides that say Yammer/Microsoft. And I'm like, how many of you were Groove customers or knew what Groove was, right? Ray Ozzie, awesome dude. I remember sitting down before we bought Groove, and I had lunch with Ray Ozzie, and I just kept saying, don't say a word, don't say a word, don't say a word. It's better to be silent and thought of this stupid than to speak and remove all doubt. Remember that kind of thing? It's like, don't say a word, don't say. I was biting. That's the only time I physically actually did bite my lip for an entire lunch, except for when I'd eat and then I'd bite the food. But you know, Groove we bought for a couple $billion, 1.6 billion. Now it's a button. It says sync. Nobody put Groove /Microsoft on any of their slides. Kind of arrogant, I think. And I was like, oh, hey, Groove, hey, show me how I check somebody else's free busy time in Yammer. Show me how I check somebody else's free busy time in Yammer. What? Where's the calendar? Where's my free busy? Where are my tasks? Where are my contacts? Where are my notes? You can't replace Exchange with Yammer. What are you, silly? You can replace this little thing, electronic communications, in Exchange with Yammer. Yes. So get out there, learn Yammer, understand enterprise social. I don't care if you call it Facebook for the enterprise like we're not supposed to. Call it Facebook for the enterprise. That's awesome. I'd love you for that. You're still going to need Exchange. You're still going to need calendaring, contacts, tasks, and notes. But here's a great way to communicate in real time and have a record of that communication with folks. And you'll see some things like in Yammer today. This is my favorite story. We had a 386 question RFP that came from a customer, this Google Compete customer that I was talking about, where I demoed it, and they went with our stuff. Again, it's good news. 386 question RFP. I stayed up all night, all day, all night, most of the morning, answering 386 questions. I posted it back in Yammer. Somebody, meanwhile, said, hey, where's the original RFP? I don't have it. They posted the blank RFP back to Yammer, which then overwrote the one that I had spent 3 days answering questions on, because Yammer doesn't have enterprise content management versioning today. And I said, Dave Quady, because that's his name, I probably shouldn't have said this, if you ever post a document in Yammer again, I am going to knock you out. And then he never did. But the bright side of this story is that we will take that enterprise content management capability that we have and know and love in SharePoint and put that in Yammer. It's going to be more like we're going to take Yammer and put it inside of SharePoint that will have enterprise content management capabilities. But get to know Yammer. This is it's still hot. I mean, Enterprise Social Network is still very hot. Deploying Office Pro, you can deploy, click to run. I mean, that is a whole great story. The cool thing for you guys all as Microsoft partners, get to know that Microsoft partner network, because we've got so much good stuff. And I'll tell you, my little tips and tricks is reverse engineer this. Here's MWH, a company out of Colorado that I worked with, and they do fresh water for these third world countries and things. Really great work that they're doing out there. They're about 8,000 employees, as it says there. They needed to communicate in real time around the world. What I really loved about these guys is they had a big office down in Christchurch. And just before the earthquake hit, when I was working with these guys, we didn't sell them anything, and that earthquake hit, I sent care packages to John and Neville. There were about 4 guys that I sent these little, it was toiletries. It was nothing big, toilet paper, shaving cream, deodorant, towels, stuff like that. And they're like, this is so, like my own family didn't even call to see if I was still alive, and you sent a care package. So it was kind of cool, but what was more cool is that these guys, all they really wanted to use was Link. Link was the big thing for them, being able to communicate in real time around the world and share content through web conferencing. And then we showed them Yammer and how they could put progress updates in all these communications in real time. And they ended up going whole hog on the E4 in this case, suite, because they did deploy Link on premise. So what I like about this is you can find something in here that's really cool. So you're talking to a company about, hey, your power utility, like Minnesota Valley Electric Cooperative, you do large-scale energy complex projects, and they have to be certified and all these other things. Have you heard about MWH and the work that they did and how they leveraged us on their large-scale projects? So you can take this case study, and I remember that it used to take me about 9 voicemails. For a short time I was on this thing, and it was the hardest selling I ever had to do in my life at Microsoft, and it was about making sales teams more impactful and effective. And I would call and go, hey, Mr. Sales Vice President, my name is Tom Moen, I'm with Microsoft. I'd like to talk to you about the great new features in Office and how we can make your team more productive. I'd hang up on that one, right? And then the second one, I was using these case studies, and I'd say, I'd like you to know how people were able to manage their contracts and proposals, generate 22% more profit from the proposals and contracts they were generating, blah, 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 right? So now I've got some, hey, profit, and then like the 4th voicemail was about reducing costs. So if I didn't get them on the increasing profit, I'd get them on the reducing cost side of this equation, right? And then I'd go out there, and then they'd go, all right. So after 9 calls, I'd finally get an appointment, and they go, okay, you're here to talk to me about CRM, huh? And then I go, no, I'm not here to talk to you about CRM. That always stunk. But find these case studies and then reverse engineer them into your story, how you talk to these customers. A great one from British Airways. And then this was like a pure yammer again. So this started from a different perspective of pure yammer and then went to the whole entire E3 suite. How many of you have heard of the infrastructure optimization model? Raise your hand. We spent like $3 million developing this with MIT and another consultant, and it was money well spent since all of you have heard of this. So this is a cool way to start. So it was exactly 6 years. Yeah, we're a long time ago. 2007, 7 years. So basic, standardized, advanced, dynamic. These will be in the slides. There's no take-home test. But it's all centers around, and there are 3 of these. First of all, we categorize people. We used to go out and spend like 2 weeks as an account technology specialist, 2 weeks at General Mills, 2 weeks at Thomson Reuters. And I was just doing the BP, the business productivity infrastructure optimization. This stuff we spend a lot of money on. It's awesome. If you can bring this to a customer and say, here's where you fit in this model, and it goes basic, standard, rationalized, dynamic, just like it did there. And again, I'm not going to read all this to you. There's one for app flat. How's your user experience? How do you care about that? Where's your data management? You know, all of these things, and we have all these questions that you ask. I'm going to come out and analyze your business, and I'm going to put together where you fit on this map. So this is the core infrastructure. So there's business productivity. You know, what are you doing? Do you take advantage of real-time communications? And there are like 50 questions around real-time communications. Get them thinking, and then it's filling out your model map on the background so you can go out and then take this and use the information they give you against them. I mentioned this earlier, you know, follow the leader. If the CEO of the world's largest software company comes out and says we're moving to be a mobile-first, cloud-first company, what are the first things that you should be investigating? What the heck does that mean? I'd read this press release first. I'd get to the newsroom and say, where's Microsoft going? Because I love that Wayne Gretzky thing.
What kind of printer is it?
Why was he the greatest hockey player that ever lived? What did he always say? I don't skate to the puck.
HP, Office Jet, I'm sorry.
It's going to be. And this is the same thing here, man. Get to where we're going. I just told you already today, number one most important thing for me on my scorecard is CRM. If you're coming next Monday saying, here's how I can help you get that scorecard green on CRM, guess who's just made a brand new best buddy? And who's going to give you every resource all the time, everything in the world? Me. If you're going to help me, I'm going to help you. End of story. Know where we're going and know what that means about where we're going, and then get there ahead of us. I had a partner that came to me, and they're like, and this was the partner that I even worked for. I worked for these guys and said, hey, we're going to do these marketing technology events. And I was like, well, are you including some of the things that you use yourselves? Like they had some of the best Power Pivot BI tools in the world, and they weren't sharing this with other folks. The stuff that you're doing every day, digital marketing, social marketing, the things that we do in this room every stinking day is gold to customers. We were just talking in the other break about something very simple, something so basic that we know, and it wrote for us. And these guys over here don't know it at all. You know, and this is the same thing at Avtex. They did every single day. That's a partner in the Twin Cities. And they've got other offices. They did things every single day that were the envy of the marketing world to provide insights, up-to-date insights. They were the first ones to use, that I ever saw. And I wasn't even working there. And I'm like, Eric, what are we doing? What are you guys doing to share that stuff out there? They had this awesome tool called
Do you know if it's
ELF.
a plus, premium, or E? It's a plus.
And I can't remember what that stands for. It's like electronic and library. Something. And it showed people's expertise by what projects they worked on and what they accomplished.
Okay, there are
and I'm like, wouldn't that be cool if you could go out and go, hey, these are the 3 people I'm thinking about putting on your SharePoint project, and here are some of the other projects that they've done. And wouldn't it be cool if you did this in a mobile application?
To go to the server
So you're showing
download
them a
the
mobile
driver for
application
the
that
server
Eric
in
Miles
question,
worked on.
and then once you have the driver
you're
downloaded,
there. You know how
uninstall
many
any
people
other
said,
principal
"Oh,
or
yeah, think
driver
about this
connecting to
digital
the printer,
marketing thing.
hook it
We
up,
need sales
have
enablement
it
like this. We want to turn our
create a
laptops into
port
storytellers,
on the
into
printer
site
that points
sellers,
to the
right?
IP
And
address
this is
of the
stuff we do
printer,
every, and
and
I
then
don't
add
know,
the
probably most
printer
of you have never
driver
heard the
for
term
the
site seller,
specific
but when I first started
version
selling
of the
copiers
operating
right out of
system
college, nobody
driver
bragged
that you
about selling
downloaded,
copiers out of college.
and then see
A,
if
it
that
was the only
works.
job I could get, but B, I was the top 3 guys in the whole world doing it, so I loved it. I had a 3-ring binder because I wasn't going to haul. I was in Florida. I wasn't going to haul a 300-pound copier in on every sales demo. I just had a 3-ring binder, and I would flip them through pages. That's a site seller, electronic site seller, right? Kind of cool. They built this internally to show who's got expertise in what areas. Take that out. Show it to your customers. These are the 3 people I'm putting on your project. These are some of the projects they've done. This is why they're a good fit. Bam. I'm out. I'll keep going. I'll talk to you guys until you fall asleep if you want me to. Be here. I'm here all weekend. Mobility. So then again, showing this and how this works on the web, hybrid, phone, on 3 screens, or on these native platforms. Again, you guys are very fortunate. You've got access to the partner network. There are solutions. There are resources. There are all these great things out here. This is a great example. Wonderful content on Enterprise Social Network. If you're not leveraging the content that's out there on an Enterprise Social Network to talk to people about how they can get faster responses from their customers, how they can learn how their product could be changed, how they're not providing that personalized service today, and they could be doing this through Enterprise Social Network, it's a huge opportunity that you're missing. So, and again, you've got all these slides here, but I wanted to just get to a couple of good ones, and that is on any of these solutions, you know, take this solutions approach. It's going to yield. It's going to be gold for you. Being able to go out there and say, here's how we're going to, here's a project, and then you're showing them, here's how we use Enterprise Social. Here's the feedback that we just got. Instead of, you know, we used to have these, when I was with this partner, we had these, what do you call them, 360-degree reviews, right? Customers had an evaluation that they filled out on my performance when I was out on a project. You guys, how many of you do this today with your consultants? Ask customers for feedback, have a review like the eval. Beautiful. Beautiful. Do you have that in an Enterprise Social Network so people can do it real time? Stuff is gold, man, especially if they're good and you've got good people, right? We don't hire no junk. So you go, hey, all my people are awesome. Here's who says so besides me. And look at this. And then they're going to go, wow, I never thought about using an Enterprise Social Network and having an external group where that customer could provide instant feedback on the performance of my people. Now I don't have to send out that eval form. I don't have to codify all those results. And I'm using it as a selling tool. Kind of cool? Is any of this stuff resonating? Cool. Good, good, good. And what I love about this, there's a Jumpstart. There's a Jumpstart. So we've got all these tools on what is Enterprise Social, where's the blueprint, here's the conceptual architecture, and that's not as important because it's a cloud service with Yammer, right? But you can go out and you can say, and we've got all these slides. I just copied and pasted these suckers today, right? So, well, not today. I prepared several weeks ago for this session by pasting these slides in here. But all of this is here, and there's a day and a half. Here's what's going to happen in the first day and a half. Here's what's going to happen in 1 day. Here's what's going to happen in 1 week. Here's what's going to happen in 90 minutes. It's awesome that Microsoft provides all this junk. It's really awesome junk, but it's stuff. It's junk if you're not using it. It's really awesome gold if you are using it, and it's out there for you on that Microsoft Partner Network. So jump on out there, get this stuff. But again, we're going to focus on. What are we going to focus on? We all sell CRM. That's awesome. Self-service, if you're talking to government, man, get your constituencies to serve themselves, right? So get out there and work on that. Where's Microsoft going? Cloud first, mobile first. So where are you guys all going? Cloud first, mobile first. Thank you. All right. I can hang around for questions. I think our session is done. Are there any questions, anything I can answer right now? And again, hopefully you found this session useful. If you think it was great, just draw a straight line down all those answers on the left-hand side. If you don't think it was great, you don't really have to fill out that form. That'd be awesome. What else? Come on, chickens. I know you got questions. Yes? I felt you, buddy. It is, right? And that's their thing. And they kind of use that as a benefit. But yeah, his comment about everything in Google is always in beta. It is, and they like to use that as an advantage. But you can turn that against them really quickly by saying some betas don't ship. Even here at Microsoft, some betas don't ever RC, right? Sure. The BPIO, so it's Business Productivity Infrastructure Optimization. Basic, standardized, rationalized, dynamic. Not all customers will go to dynamic. As a matter of fact, the sweet spot is going to be rationalized, because when you go from rationalized to dynamic, there's a cost uptick, and it's usually a pretty big hurdle, but you can read that all on the slides. But use that stuff. I mean, we had people who are like orders of magnitude smarter than I am develop that stuff, and it's the most underutilized gold at Microsoft. What else? So I'm around, tmoen@microsoft.com. If you don't want to ask me something, you can come up here or you can send me an email. Sure. Microsoft Partner Network under Solutions. It was the first thing that I hit circled there in red under the Microsoft Partner Network. WPC, how many of you have attended a Worldwide Partner Conference? Wow, really? If nothing else, it's a great time to just hang out, meet people, have a beer or two. I mean, it's a good time and you learn a lot. And again, you're getting the inside message from, Kevin Turner, Satya, right there. Next summer, yep.